Actively managed versus index funds. So what do I prefer? I actually prefer both. I also own a target date fund. I know the arguments. A lot of people have said index funds are really the way to go because they have low fees, and the index fund outperforms over 80% of actively managed funds. And yes, while that's true, the other side of that coin is that there are 10 to 20% of actively managed funds that consistently beat the S&P 500 index, for example. So here's a performance chart of my Roth IRA, and as you can see here, my 1 year, my 3 year, 5 year performance consistently has beaten the S&P 500 index. And this is just one active managed fund, a mutual fund that I've been investing in for about 7 years now. For the first year, I beat the index by 3.4%, by the 3 year mark by over 14%, and the 5 year 13.27%. So how do I choose an actively managed fund? Well, I just use the tools that are given on the brokerage firm's website. You could Google search. That's what I did as well. I looked for the best performing mutual funds. I'll go in and I'll see how long their portfolio manager has been with the fund. It is possible to beat the S&P 500 if you do some research and you find these really good mutual funds. The thing to think about here is don't be so hyper-focused on fees. So this particular fund, the active fund, has an expense ratio of 0.7%. In comparison, my index fund has a fee of 0.03, higher fees with my actively managed fund. But as you can see the performance there, at the 3 year mark, it outperformed by 14%. So I got 14% more performance for just 0.6% more in fees. So that's important to remember. Don't step over a $10 bill to pick up 60 cents on the ground. In other words, don't be so hyper-focused on fees. If you could find a good mutual fund that has returns that'll beat over time the S&P 500, then that might be a better investment for you. It's true what they say, past performance is not indicative of future performance, but it's good to look at past history, and all things being equal, you might outperform. So it doesn't hurt to put some money in index funds. It doesn't hurt to put some in really good, actively managed funds.